October is almost here. The postseason streak is live and kicking, and the Dodgers are ready to remind the rest of baseball who's in charge. But they might have to do it without Will Smith.
You are Locked On Dodgers, your daily Los Angeles Dodgers podcast. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
It's time for Locked On Dodgers, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. LA has clinched another postseason berth. Uncertainty surrounds Will Smith's availability heading into October, and a truly emotional night as Clayton Kershaw took the mound for his final regular season start at Dodger Stadium. I mean, that's a loaded weekend right there, Travis Rodgers.
It absolutely was. What a great night at Dodger Stadium on Friday night, and pretty good weekend, all things considered. 3 out of 4.
This and more in today's episode, which is brought to you by 5 Hour Energy. Enough with boring, flavorless caffeine. It's time to give your caffeine a flavor upgrade with 5 Hour Energy shots. Go to 5hourenergy.com or Amazon today. He's Travis Rodgers. I'm Harry Ruiz, two guys who talk sports for a living and bleed Dodger blue for life. You can get more Travis on 710 ESPN LA or the ESPN LA app from 3 to 6 p.m. with the Travis and DeMarco show. As for me, I'm the Spanish play-by-play broadcaster for the USC Football Trojans and the Las Vegas Raiders. But nothing beats jumping on the mic every weekday morning and diving deep into what I love most, talking Dodger baseball with you. And we want you to be a part of our show. Hit us up on the Locked On Dodgers listener line, 279-3-LOCKED or 279-356-2533. We want your favorite Clayton Kershaw stories. We want your thoughts heading into the playoffs. Anything you have in mind, send us a voicemail, send us a text, and we might be featuring you here on our show. All right, leading off, scoreboard watching time. The Padres won 2 out of 3 in Chicago's South Side against the White Sox. Meanwhile, the Dodgers won 3 out of 4 versus their rival Giants to leave their divisional lead at 3 games with 6 left for both teams in the regular season. So the magic number to clinch the West now is 3 for LA. That feels good right there, Travis. I mean, it would have been fantastic if the Dodgers have swept the Giants and be able to get closer to the Phillies, but that ship has sailed. It's out of the window. Now we're focused on the wild card, where the Dodgers have officially punched their ticket to the postseason for the 13th consecutive year, the longest streak active in Major League Baseball. That's right, 13 straight Octobers. I want to put it into perspective, Travis. Last night I was doing my research. The Dodgers made it to the postseason 13 times in the previous 46 years before this streak started. Now it's a third of the Dodgers' playoff appearances all time in franchise history have come in the last 13 seasons. We're very spoiled right now.
Yeah, we are. And it's, you think about it too, Harry. I know that, you go back into the history of Major League Baseball and the Dodgers' history in the postseason. There were obviously fewer spots available, right? You had to win your league. You had to just straight up win the pennant right out of the regular season. You had to win your division. And then obviously we had a wild card, and now we're at a spot where there are 3 wild cards. But that doesn't really kind of tell the whole story of what they've done over the last 13 years, like you mentioned. They're not squeaking in as the 3rd wild card. They're winning the division, pretty much every single year. Only one of those years were they not the division winner in this, and that was the year they won 106 games and then beat the team that won the division in the postseason. It is, I've heard Andrew Friedman say this, and I think he's right, and I think it feels more right than it did maybe a year ago if we were sitting here. It is the golden age of Dodger baseball. It really, truly is. To be this good for this long, this consistent, and to have a couple of World Series titles to show for it. Maybe if you want to be a really high-maintenance sort of guy, you could complain that you'd want more than just 2 in that 13-year, I guess it's 12-year window going on 13-year now. You could do that. But this is about as good as you could ever reasonably hope for. And it's an amazing accomplishment. And who knows, maybe we're talking about a 3rd World Series championship here in about a month. It's certainly possible.
And right now, it might be less difficult to make it to October, to the playoffs, because there's more spots open. But that makes it, in my opinion, harder once you get into October, once you get into the playoffs, to actually win the World Series. So major props major props to the Dodgers there. And I mean, the other team in modern history that has done it better when it comes to a lengthier streak, the Braves, 1991 to 2005, 14 straight postseasons, and the Dodgers are 1 year away from being able to win it. And the pitching definitely has made his mark right here. And the thing is, it's not only making it to October. The Dodgers, they've had their sights set firmly on winning the National League once again. And with it, 12 divisional titles in the past 13 seasons. That's very difficult to do. And this front office, they're taking advantage that they have an ownership group that is committed to winning.
Yeah, look, we're fans, right? And the people that are listening to this podcast, the everydayers, just about everybody that's checking in on us on any sort of regular basis, we're fans, and we get frustrated and we get angry and we get disappointed when the team doesn't do what we're hoping they would do, or they get eliminated, or they don't acquire this player or that player, or they don't do this or that at the deadline. And that's part of the fun of being a fan. The fact of the matter is, Harry, you really couldn't ask for more. There is nothing that you could reasonably say that you would want this team to do over the last nearly 2 decades and have a point. Yeah, should they have been a little more active at this deadline or that deadline? Yeah, okay. Did they miss on this free agent or that free agent? Yeah, sure. But let me ask you this, Dodger fans. When you go to the ballpark, do you have a good time? Is the ballpark clean? Is the product on the field as good as could reasonably expected, especially when you look around the rest of them? Do you believe the organization is committed to winning? Do they pay their stars? Do they put on a great show? And the answer is just right down the line. Yes, 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 yes. You couldn't ask for more. It's another chance to go win another World Series. Look, they may lose 2 games in a row right out of the chute in the wild card and be done. You and I will be sitting here complaining, being frustrated. How did this happen? What went wrong? And that's the fun part of this. But to be in the postseason 13 years in a row, to have a roster like the Dodgers have, to have the front office spend the money that they do to put this product on the field, doesn't get much better.
I mean, I'm pretty sure folks remember Dodger Stadium when the only way you could go out to the left and right field pavilion was having tickets for that section.
Yeah.
And there wasn't much to do at the stadium in those sections when you had tickets for that area. There were times where if you had a ticket for the top deck, you were restricted to just stay at the top deck until in 2011, I want to say 2012, they came out with the MVP card for season ticket holders, and you could actually take the 1 elevator, or 2 elevators that they had at the whole stadium to go from the top deck to the media level, the suite level, and then go down to field and loge to get different food and then go back to your section. Now you can go in through any entrance. You have a lot of things to do. I know people that go to the stadium just to hang out in the center field plaza. They buy a ticket. They hang out there. They drink their beers. They watch the TVs, the game right there instead of going to their seats. It's a completely different way to go and watch baseball because the front office, they started investing money before the pandemic happened in that stadium. Now you got escalators, you got elevators all over the place. And the only way that you can do this is investing not only at the stadium, but on the field, on the product on the field, and making sure that people want to go watch this team, not only at the stadium, but on TV, spend their money on cable, spend their money on Sportsnet LA Plus, like I do from Vegas. It's a different monster, but they're not only saying, give me your money, they're investing it back.
Yeah, they put some of the money in their pockets and they put some of the money back on the field. They put some of the money into the ballpark, and not every team does that. Look
Shout
around.
out to the A's.
Yeah, absolutely. Look, the Dodgers just became the 10th team ever to punch 4 million tickets in a single season. They just did that yesterday, against the Giants. 4 million people have decided, yeah, I'll give you. And by the way, it's not cheap. I went to Dodger Stadium on Friday night to see Clayton Kershaw's final game, home game as a starter. And I bought a couple of beers, and it was not nothing, right? Like, I mean, that's 2 beers, and you're digging deep into your pocket. I understand it's a real commitment, but it's also knowing that, hey, look, that's Shohei Ohtani, that's Mookie Betts, that's Freddie Freeman. Clayton Kershaw never wore another uniform along the way. That's Will Smith, who's locked in for a long time at a price that is not nothing, and it's just. You can feel good about it. Is it expensive? Absolutely. But are your dollars, my dollars, everyone's dollars showing up on the field? Yeah, they are. And that feels really good.
And I mean, that's consistency at a level rarely seen in pro sports nowadays. And you can even look over at the golden standard, if you want to call it that way, for the city of Los Angeles, the Lakers. When the final years of Kobe Bryant, you didn't have that competitiveness of being like, we're fighting for titles. It was hard. LeBron James, you had that first year they wanted the bubble, but since then, how many times have you actually felt this team is going to win the Larry O'Brien trophy? That's not the case.
Not often.
With the Dodgers, they go into the postseason, even this year, where they're barely going to get over 90 wins. You feel like, hey, this team, they have what it takes to be able to go deep. They're not just showing up. This milestone is huge. They want to win the World Series, and there's a very good chance they are going to win the World Series.
Put it to you this way. The Dodgers are going to win the division for the 12th time in 13 years. They've got a good chance of winning the World Series. And I think most Dodger fans are like, what's wrong with this team? That's how good of a team this is. That there is not another team in baseball that would feel that way. And I like your example of the Lakers, Harry, because who owns the Lakers now? The same guys that own the Dodgers. And they're going to go apply the same principles that they've done in baseball and apply them to the NBA. Obviously, it's a little different because it's a salary cap league, but this is as good of an ownership group as you could hope for. And it's very exciting because, look, Mookie Betts is going to get old. Shohei's going to get old. Freddie's going to get old. All these guys are going to age out. We're seeing it with Clayton Kershaw right now. But you can rest pretty comfortably knowing that they're going to go get the next group of stars and they're going to wear Dodger blue.
Absolutely. You know, they've been put in positions to compete for a championship. And speaking of key contributors, we'll break down one of the biggest questions heading into October, the status of Will Smith. Next on Locked On Dodgers, what his potential absence could mean for the lineup.
This episode of Locked On Dodgers is brought to you by Zippix Toothpicks. Whether you're looking for nicotine satisfaction or an energy boost, Zippix has you covered with their nicotine and caffeine-infused toothpicks. For nicotine users, Zippix provides a discreet way to satisfy cravings and the hand-to-mouth habit without vaping or smoking. Zippix can be a helpful tool as you work to reduce your dependence on vaping. It's available in 6 great flavors with 2 milligrams and 3 milligram nicotine options. And if you need energy without the crash, their caffeine toothpicks can be an absolute game changer. So here's what you do. You go to zippixtoothpicks.com, use the code LOCKEDON for 10% off your first order. You must be 21 or older to order. Warning, nicotine is an addictive chemical. That's zippixtoothpicks.com, promo code LOCKEDON. Zip more, smoke less with Zippix Toothpicks.
Caffeine just got a flavor upgrade. 5-hour energy shots deliver tasty caffeine in 17 bold flavors. Each 2-ounce shot packs the caffeine of a premium 12-ounce cup of coffee, plus B vitamins and nutrients with 0 sugar and 0 crashes. What I love most is how portable they are. Big taste, tiny shot. You can take it anywhere and get that boost when you need it. I've been eyeing the Grape Blast flavor too. It sounds like the perfect one to try next. Enough with boring, flavorless caffeine. It's time to give your caffeine a flavor upgrade with 5-hour energy shots. Get your favorites you love or be bold and try something new in-store and online at 5hourenergy.com or Amazon today. Don't forget to follow Locked On Dodgers not only on YouTube, but on X, Instagram, and TikTok as well. You can find Travis on social media at Travis Rodgers on X and Instagram. Meanwhile, I'm at Harry Ruiz on X, at Harry_Ruiz on Instagram, and at Harry Ruiz_ on TikTok. All right, let's talk about Will Smith, the Dodgers star catcher and one of the most impactful bats in the lineup. His status is currently up in the air, and he's doubtful for the final week of the regular season due to a small hairline fracture on the top of his right hand. Originally, Travis, the injury was described as only a bone bruise, but we know it's something a little bit more concerning, not a little bit, way more concerning. When you hear small hairline fracture in your hand, what does that say for you as a former baseball player?
Yeah, you know, when we saw it on television, that's that was a foul ball directly off of his bare hand. And like, I didn't go to medical school. I'm not an orthopedist, but it sure looked like something would break. You hit your hand that hard on anything, and it felt like a break was inevitable. And the challenge isn't just, can he deal with the pain? Sure, it's trying to hit major league pitching with a broken bone in your hand. And it's just incredibly difficult. Now, can he catch? Can he throw? Probably okay. I know I was reading some stuff that the throwing is giving him a little bit of an issue, but this is a big deal. Now, I guess if you want to be, positive, if you want to be a little optimistic about this, obviously you'd much rather have Will Smith back there than anybody else at this point. He's an all-star and, he's one of the great Dodgers of this era. The team has played pretty well in his absence. The team has not come unglued. The pitching has remained incredibly solid, in particular, the starting pitching. And Ben Rortvedt has got on base a little bit. Dalton Rushing has gotten some hits here and there as well. And I know those guys are going to be ready. I know that they're both hoping to make that postseason roster. And the only way that happens is if Will Smith isn't there. So that may take care of itself in that first round at least. But I know the Dodgers are going to try to do everything they can to get him out there. But, when you're going up against, not just major league pitching, but playoff caliber major league pitching, and you've got a hand that's something less than 100%, that's incredibly difficult. The good news is we know Will Smith is a very tough individual. So if he can, he will.
He's tough as nails. If there's somebody that can play without being less than 100%, it's more than likely going to be a catcher. Yeah. And the catcher that actually carried with the team in his back when you had Mookie Betts at less than his usual self, when you had Freddie Freeman struggling, when you had most of the rest of the team having a bad time during July, August, and a little bit of September, Will Smith was doing a good job. Unfortunately, it was September 3rd. It's crazy to say September 3rd was almost 3 weeks ago, but that's when that foul ball hit his right hand. He returned briefly September 9th, but then went back on the injured list. He was scheduled to start, and then out of nowhere, 15 minutes before the game, Ben Rortvedt was told, you're actually not going to be waiting for whenever Will Smith isn't good. You go on the field right now. So over the past 3 weeks, the Dodgers, they've had to navigate life without Fresh Prince, and I'll say they get an A grade right now. But make no mistake about it, Travis, his absence will definitely have an impact on this team's depth and its production.
And their pop too, right? Like Will Smith is one of those guys that can certainly pop a home run here and there. We've seen him hit home runs in the World Series. He's a very essential part of what they're doing. And I guess to be a little bit optimistic here, you got another week of the regular season. If he's unavailable to play in the wild card round, that buys you another 3-4 days potentially. So you're almost getting another couple of weeks. If you kind of go back a little bit in time, 3-4 weeks for that thing to heal as much as humanly possible. And then I wouldn't be surprised if, he wasn't on the roster during the wild card round. I would be very surprised if he wasn't on the roster come the divisional round, if the Dodgers find themselves able to make it that far. And then I think it's kind of a grit your teeth and see what you can do. And if he can't go, then they send him down and bring Rushing or Rortvedt back onto the roster at that point. Whichever one of those two guys does not make it to begin with.
Yeah, and in the postseason, you have rosters for every series. You don't have a roster where you started in the wild card and that's your roster all the way through the World Series. No, it's like the wild card round, the DS, the CS, the wild card. The thing is, if you have a player on the roster for the wild card round and he has to go on the injured list, he's not available for the following series. So that's where you have to be very strategic on when you actually have Will Smith active on the roster. It is when he's good to go for the rest of the way, not just to be like, we need him to help us win in the wild card. And this question, I feel we didn't have an answer for 2 weeks ago or whenever Will Smith got injured originally, September 3rd, is how much confidence did we have on Ben Rortvedt and Dalton Rushing back then to the way that we trust them right now? Because stepping into Will Smith's shoes in the playoffs is a huge ask, but I feel right now we're a little bit more calm, Travis.
Yeah, I think so too. And quite frankly, I'm just about this close to stunned that it's gone the way that it did, because it's one thing, Harry, I think, to be told, hey, listen, we need you for a couple of days. Just chill out, relax, do the best you can. Just make sure you catch the ball in front of you. Make sure that you block everything in the dirt. Don't worry about hitting. Don't worry about trying to manage this pitching staff. Just do the absolute bare minimum. He's going to be back any minute now. And then there's, oh, hey, by the way, you're going to have to do this through the playoffs. We're going to need you to hit. We're going to need you to manage this. It's a totally different ask. And the ask that was given to these guys, they've responded incredibly well. I had an opportunity. I know that we're going to, maybe talk about this a little bit later in the week and show some of the video. I had a chance to sit down with Dalton Rushing and talk with him on Saturday afternoon, and we talked about this. And an incredibly impressive young guy, but he may or may not make the roster. We'll see what it looks like, because Ben Rortvedt has come in, and you and I are like, okay, well, how do you say his name? What is it spelled like? And just trying to learn it. And now all of a sudden, he's probably your starting catcher. If game one of the wild card round started tomorrow, he's probably batting ninth and doing the catching. He has become an invaluable member of this team, and knowing that he's as comfortable as he is, it's a steal, really. There's no other word for it.
A guy who wasn't on the roster 2 months ago until the trade deadline. That's crazy. That's ridiculous. And now he's replacing a guy that was competing for the batting title, who had a very strong MVP case until, unfortunately, injuries started hurting him. He's still going to get some votes, but man, to replace that guy with somebody that was a fill-in in a trade, that's crazy.
It's a testament to the word professional in the phrase professional athlete. Be ready, stay ready. You never know when you're operating. Ben Rortvedt was not in AAA in July and August thinking, you know what, I'll probably be catching for the Dodgers in the playoffs. It was probably hey, do I have a future here? Do I have to go to a different organization? Is there any path in the world for me to get to the big leagues with the LA Dodgers? And the answer was no. They signed Will Smith to a long-term high-dollar deal. Dalton Rushing is one of their more impressive prospects in the entire system. He was blocked in every possible way. And then, oh, hey, by the way, we need you to catch tomorrow. Oh, hey, by the way, we need you to catch in the postseason. He might end up catching in the World Series. We have no idea how this is going to unfold over the next couple of months. And that dude was ready and capable and confident. Incredible.
Good trade chip for the future. I mean,
yeah,
if you have Dalton Rushing right there and he's impressive, man, Ben Rortvedt might be helping the Dodgers this year and in following seasons. Losing your star catcher definitely in October isn't ideal, but the Dodgers, they'll figure it out. Now, let's shift gears to Clayton Kershaw. Coming up on Locked On Dodgers, we dive deep into his emotional final home start at Dodger Stadium, a night full of memories, mixed emotions, and a big win that Travis Rodgers was there at Chavez Ravine for.
You've probably seen a million ads for hair growth products and thought, sure, that actually works, right? There are so many products out there, and it's hard to know which ones are actually going to do anything. That's why you should give Nutrafol a closer look. Nutrafol is the #1 dermatologist-recommended hair growth supplement brand trusted by over 1.5 million people, and it's not just hype, right? This is a supplement clinically tested that targets the root cause of thinning and shedding with a proactive approach, right? So whether you are at work, you're out with friends, or even just getting ready in the morning, Nutrafol is going to give you more confidence in your daily routine. And you can feel good about it knowing that Nutrafol is NSF certified and backed by peer-reviewed studies. So you can see thicker, stronger hair with less shedding in just 3 to 6 months with Nutrafol. For a limited time, Nutrafol is offering Locked On MLB listeners $10 off your first month subscription and free shipping when you go to Nutrafol.com and enter the promo code LOCKEDONMLB. That's Nutrafol.com, promo code LOCKEDONMLB.
Most people can't name all their financial accounts or even what they're worth, whether it's 401ks, properties, or investments. And when you don't have the full picture, you can end up leaving money up on the table. That's why there is Monarch Money. It's an all-in-one personal finance tool that brings your entire financial life together in one clean, easy-to-use interface on your laptop or your phone. Monarch is built for people with busy lives. If you've put off organizing your finances, Monarch is for you. Monarch does the heavy lifting for you. You can link all your accounts in minutes, see clear data visuals, get smart categorization of your spending, and finally feel in control of your money without ever touching a spreadsheet. After I joined Monarch, I was shocked to see how many subscriptions I had, and also, all that takeout, it definitely stacked up. Don't let financial opportunities slip through the cracks. Use Locked On MLB at monarchmoney.com in your browser for half off your first year. That's 50% off your first year at monarchmoney.com with the code LOCKEDONMLB. Thanks for making us your first listen wherever you may be tuning in, either on your favorite podcast app or our YouTube channel. Subscribe to it. Smash that notification bell so you never miss a beat. It's completely free. Full episodes, hot takes, breaking Dodgers news, and the Dodgers Postcast Show live with Pete Fox after the final out of every game. If it drops, you're on it. That's how you become an everydayer here on Locked On Dodgers. Friday night, Dodger Stadium, something truly special. Clayton Kershaw took the mound for his final regular season start at Chavez Ravine. From the moment he stepped onto the field for pregame warmups, you could feel the emotion in the air. Not just from Kershaw himself, but from his family, his teammates, and every Dodgers fan in attendance, including Travis Rodgers. Travis, take it away. How did it feel being there for such a historic day, such a historic night?
It was one of the more exceptional moments that I've been able to be a part of at Dodger Stadium. You know, going to Dodger games for the last, almost 50 years. You know, I've been very fortunate to see a lot of really cool stuff and some incredible individual performances, some championships, all of those things. But this was right up there because Clayton Kershaw's place in Dodger history, Clayton Kershaw's place in the history of Los Angeles sports was secure, right? You're talking about a two-time World Series champion. We'll see. There's still a possibility of a third, somebody that is going to walk straight into the Hall of Fame. And you had a full house, and every single person was pulling on the same end of the rope. Every single person wanted to see the same thing, and that was Clayton Kershaw go out in a meaningful way. And it got off to a weird start, Harry. I mean, the very first pitch of the game got hit about 9,000 feet foul. And everybody in the ballpark's kind of looking at each other like, whoa. And then, you know, fast forward about 4 seconds later, the ball's in the left field pavilion. You're like, oh man, it's really not going to go like this, right? Like Kershaw's not going to get bombed out in his final Dodger Stadium start, is he? And then from that point forward, it was like the most Clayton Kershaw thing you could have seen, or at least the late stage version of Clayton Kershaw. It wasn't, the no-hit MVP Cy Young Kershaw, but it was I'm going to grind and fight and compete and battle in every single inning. And that's exactly what he did. Like, there was traffic all over the place. It wasn't a masterpiece by any stretch of the imagination, but it was quintessential Kershaw as he got into the late stages of his career. Everybody was thrilled to see it. That includes, I was sitting right behind the Giants dugout, and I was, no joke, maybe 30 feet away from Justin Verlander, and Verlander was like locked in on Kershaw because Verlander is Kershaw. Kershaw is Verlander. They occupy that same space, only Kershaw only played for one team and Verlander's bounced around a little bit. But you could see that even another guy who's a deadlock cinch Hall of Famer was locked in the moment. You could see how much it meant to his teammates. It was an incredibly emotional night, but it was a celebration. It wasn't emotional in the sense of sad and, oh my gosh, it's come to an end. It was a, wow, I can't believe we got to see this. What a treat. And the way that he responded to the crowd, the curtain call at the end, the way he came out and his teammates stayed in the dugout. It was a terrific night, and Kershaw deserved it. And he got exactly what we were hoping for.
Yeah, and I'm pretty sure you've seen already the videos when before he even took the mound, he looked up at his family, waved at them, his wife, his daughter, sending him kisses, his son's waving at him, and then him going out to the mound by himself because the rest of the team was like, no, give him his moment. And Kershaw's like, come on, get on the damn field already, because he hates being the center of attention. But everybody was like, he's not going to like it, but we got to give it to him. We got to let the fans just shower him with love and shower him with appreciation. And the Clayton Kershaw from that MVP year, from those Cy Young seasons, he wouldn't have even looked at his family before the game. It's a completely different monster. Same thing with the All-Star game that we spoke about here that all our everydayers know. When we were talking about him being mic'd up, him having an earpiece listening to the announcers, the Clayton Kershaw from maybe 2 years ago wouldn't even been game for that. This Clayton Kershaw, he's relaxed. He knows it's his swan song. He knows it's the end of the road and that he can actually enjoy it now.
Yeah, it's funny you say that because I was talking with Miguel Rojas on Saturday afternoon as well, and I asked him about, hey, what went into the decision to let him go out there by himself. And he said that he and his teammates, they kind of had a meeting and said, hey, let's do this. And then they talked amongst themselves a little bit. You know what? He's not going to like that. Like he's not going to want to be on center stage by himself, that he's such a great teammate. And then they decided not to do it. And then right before they went out onto the field for that last time, they kind of all looked at each other and go, we're going to do it. Right. And then they did. And he went out there and I think it just really illustrates how his teammates feel about him, how the Dodger fans feel about him. And, there aren't too many great ways to retire. And he has certainly found one of the ways to do it. And the only way it can get sweeter is to keep winning round after round after round. And hopefully he's a big part of that. And, seeing the way that Dodger bullpen has pitched in the last month or so, it's very likely that we're going to see him try to get some big outs late in games.
Hey, I trust him more than I trust Blake Trinan right now. So let him go out there
and pitch. Throw the ball over the plate.
Exactly. And I mean, walking the bases loaded, tied 1-1 with the Giants, final home game of the season in the regular season. We'll talk about that tomorrow. But you mentioned it, not the smoothest outing ever for number 22. His stats, 4 1/3 innings, 4 hits allowed, 4 walks, 2 earned runs, striking out 6. But he left the team in a position to fight for the win, and they did it literally in the bottom of the 5th inning, scoring 4 runs, a pair of home runs. Shohei Ohtani, Mookie Betts, a fitting victory to send off Kershaw in front of a sold-out crowd, and a reminder of just how much he has meant for this franchise over the years and how much he's going to mean for it for the rest of the history of this team.
And watching him and the maintenance crew and his family dig the rubber out of the mound after the game, I thought was great. And because you got to see him not as Clayton Kershaw, King Kong, best pitcher of his era, 6'4", 240, guy. You got to see him as a dad. You got to see him with his kids, with talking to his kids like dads talk to their kids. And it was heartwarming. It was sweet. And it was also just, a perfect moment for one of the greatest Dodgers of all time, and hopefully we get one more in October.
Yeah, I want calls. I want voicemails to our listener line, 2793-LOCK, 279-356-2533. Your favorite Clayton Kershaw memories, let us know, and we want to hear them very, very soon. An unforgettable evening, an unforgettable show, and that wraps it up for us today. And we are thanking you so much for being a part of our program. If you're still craving more baseball talk, have the all-new Locked On MLB Game Night be your second listen. Every game, every night, all season long. Get local analysis on a national scale. Find it on Locked On MLB on YouTube or wherever you get your podcasts. We'll be back tomorrow, Tuesday, as Travis will share his pitching strategy that he would use if he were the team's manager in October. Travis, you gave me a little bit of tease of it, so I'm excited to hear more tomorrow.
It may have a lot of problems with it, but it may also be the only way they have to do it. So we'll get into that coming up tomorrow.
We appreciate you riding with us. Until next time, keep it real. Keep it Dodger Blue.